15 stories from behind the scenes of Wicked. The making of the Wicked movie was filled with challenges. The Broadway musical upon which it's based is beloved by fans, to an almost obsessive degree. There was every pressure on the filmmakers to get the screen adaptation right. They made good choices from the start, assembling a stellar cast that includes Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jeff Goldblum, and Michelle Yeoh, among others. No expense was spared in making the production as grand and impressive as possible. Whether it was importing 9 million tulips, building a 16-ton train, or dodging airborne photographers, cast and crew put their collective heart and soul into making a movie that would blow away existing fans and newcomers alike. Below are some of the most fascinating Wicked behind-the-scenes stories. 1. The production built a 16-ton train to take Elphaba and Glinda to Oz. One of the most unforgettable scenes in Wicked finds Elphaba hopping an enormous emerald green train to Oz, where she has been summoned by the wizard. Just as the train begins to depart, she invites Glinda to also join. The massive locomotive is visually stunning, helping to sell the importance of the moment between the characters. Instead of using CGI to create that train, the production built a real one. The finished product was impressively huge. It weighed 16 tons and took 2 days to move into place for the sequence. The result was worth it, creating one of the most indelible cinematic images of the year. 2. The filmmakers took pains to find a respectful way to include cameos from the original Broadway stars. When you think of Wicked on stage, it's impossible not to think of Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel who, respectively, portrayed Glinda and Elphaba in the Broadway production. The actresses are so closely associated with the show that the movie's director, producers, and stars all agreed they needed to make a cameo appearance. The question was how to fit them in substantively and respectfully. Composer/lyricist Stephen Schwartz came up with the idea to extend the Wizzo-mania sequence in the song One Short Day to give Chenoweth and Menzel a decent-sized musical number of their own. The ladies portray enchantresses of Oz who relay the story of the Grimoire, a magical tome at the heart of the story. The sequence gave them something noteworthy to do, as opposed to simply making a stunt cameo. Said director John M. Chu. The fact that they were the wise women of Oz felt so great. And then on top of that, there's this theater group in Emerald City and the idea that they were the biggest stars in Emerald City was so fun. We love paying homage to them in there. 3. 9 million real tulips were planted for the movie's production. CGI can produce all kinds of amazing images, but at some level, audiences still realize what they're seeing isn't real. That can have an unintended psychological impact. Wicked director John M. Chu and production designer Nathan Crowley wanted something better for the opening of the movie, which takes place in a field of colorful tulips. To achieve the effect, the filmmakers consulted with a flower farmer who agreed to provide the production with a whopping 9 million tulip bulbs for use on screen. The flowers needed to be shipped from the Netherlands and planted immediately before the ground started to freeze. They helped to create a breathtaking image that makes audiences swoon. The effort was worth it, according to Crowley, who said, "For me, the cinema is about being taken away on a journey. And when the CGI is too much and the set build is too little, it stops me from falling into the film. Here, the actors are running through actual flower fields, and you see the blooms move in the wind. It feels organic." 4. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo sang live on set rather than lip-syncing to a pre-recorded track. For movie musicals, the songs are typically pre-recorded in advance and the actors lip-sync to those tracks when the cameras roll. This is done so they can focus on their performances without worrying about whether or not they're in pitch. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are both extremely accomplished vocalists, though, so they made the atypical decision to sing their vocals live during production. Even in the most uncomfortable moments, the stars stuck to their decision. During the shooting of the song Defying Gravity, Erivo sang live despite having a harness pulling and pushing and yanking and tugging on every nook and cranny that there is. 5. The film was split into 2 parts because nothing could follow Defying Gravity. On the stage, Wicked runs about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Wicked, Part 1 is roughly that same length, and it's presumed the second part will be similarly long. The choice to split the musical into 2 movies may therefore seem puzzling to fans and newcomers alike. There are 2 reasons behind the decision, according to composer/lyricist Stephen Schwartz. The first was a desire to avoid cutting or omitting things that we wanted to include and that we think fans of the show and the story will appreciate. The second, bigger reason had to do with Wicked's signature number, Defying Gravity, which ends the first act in show-stopping form. According to Schwartz, "We found it very difficult to get past Defying Gravity without a break. That song is written specifically to bring a curtain down, and whatever scene to follow it without a break just seemed hugely anticlimactic." 6. Ariana Grande auditioned 5 times to play Glinda. Before Wicked, Ariana Grande was an internationally renowned pop singer. She also had television acting experience as one of the stars of the Nickelodeon sitcom Sam and Cat. She had not, however, headlined a major motion picture before. That made her casting a slightly risky bet. She had the singing chops, but could she carry a picture? That was the question John M. Chu kept asking himself. As a result, Grande ended up auditioning 5 times before finally landing the role of Glinda. Of those 5 auditions, Chu said, "She came in 5 times for us. Every time, she was the most interesting person in the room. I resisted. I was like, there's no way Ariana Grande, the person we think of, can handle this, carrying a movie, her first movie." By the end of that 5th audition, any lingering doubts were erased in the director's mind and his Glinda was found. Incidentally, other actresses who auditioned for the role include Amanda Seyfried, Dove Cameron, and Renee Rapp. 7. Ariana Grande reverted to her full name in the credits. Moviegoers notice something unexpected when Wicked gets to its end credits. Pop superstar Ariana Grande is billed on screen as Ariana Grande Butera. Given that she's been a household name for years, some might wonder where the Butera came from. The answer is deeply personal. Having professionally shortened her name due to a long-time estrangement from her father, Edward Butera, she felt the film represented a chance to return to her roots. The star explained that Grande Butera was my name when I went to see Wicked on stage, when I was 10 years old, and it felt like a really lovely way of honoring that. Father and daughter eventually reunited, helping to pave the way for her on-screen billing. In fact, she showed him the end credit billing in advance of the movie's release, saying, "I pulled it up in my laptop, and I recorded him secretly, and I told him I wanted to show him the typography of the credits because he is a graphic designer. He loves that stuff. And anyway, it was a big surprise, and he cried. It was very emotional." 8. Bowen Yang believes his parents manifested his supporting role in Wicked. Saturday Night Live cast member Bowen Yang has a supporting role as Fanny, one of Glinda's sycophantic friends. The actor has long been obsessed with the musical, making it a dream come true to be part of the film adaptation. Yang credits his parents, saying he believes they manifested both his appearance in Wicked and his success on SNL. The actor explained, "My first trip to New York when I was 13, Wicked had just come out, but I begged my parents to go to the Gershwin just so I could touch the glass and look inside the lobby. We couldn't afford tickets, but I just wanted to feel it in my hand, just look at the signs. And then, that same day, we went to 30 Rock at NBC and did the studio tour, and I sat in the seats at SNL. So, I was like, if those 2 things happened on the same day, I need them to intersect just one more time." 9. Bowen Yang commuted from New York to London so he could still appear in Saturday Night Live while filming Wicked. For Bowen Yang, the opportunity to appear in Wicked was a dream role, but the shooting schedule conflicted with his commitments as a core cast member of Saturday Night Live. In order to do both, Yang wound up commuting from New York City to London so he could film Wicked while still appearing on SNL every week. Needless to say, the grueling schedule pushed him to his breaking point. As Yang said in Interview magazine, "I was doing Saturday shows and Lorne Michaels was like, 'You can do it if you don't miss a show.' And I'm like, 'No problem. I have my CBD tinctures to adjust to the jet lag, and I have these great green tea caffeine nootropic gels to wake me up. I've got this.' And then I had a mental breakdown. Because I would do shows on Saturday, then fly first thing Sunday morning, land at night in London, then shoot Monday and Tuesday, then fly back Wednesday, for the read-through. And I did that enough times to actually drive me insane. Even though I have no regrets about it, and it's the honor of my life to do this movie and SNL at the same time, I will never again do the weekly 8-hour round trip." 10. Shooting 2 visually different main characters created a challenge for the cinematographer. Wicked presented a very specific challenge for cinematographer Alice Brooks. The 2 main characters have intentionally opposing looks. Glinda is fair-skinned, blonde, and usually clad in some shade of pink. Elphaba is green, dark-haired, and primarily dressed in black. Figuring out how to light both characters in a manner that would make them look equally good was a complex task. This could have been easily taken care of via color correction during the film's post-production, but Brooks didn't want to do that. She explained, "I really wanted it all to be in camera, with all the details of their costumes and makeup too. It took a long time to figure it out, with our other departments, so that they could both be in the same frame and both look equally as gorgeous." 11. The film intentionally abandons the famous Technicolor look of The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz took advantage of a then revolutionary process called Technicolor. Basically, It utilized a special camera that captured a scene onto 3 different strips of film as they passed through 3 different colored filters. The result was an image filled with bold, eye-popping hues. It's hard to imagine the classic film without that signature look. John M. Chu made the semi-controversial decision to not replicate the Technicolor look for Wicked. His reasoning was solid, though, as he didn't want to sacrifice the meaning of the story. The director felt it was important to make Oz seem like a real place, and that required being able to feel the dirt. According to Chu, I think what we wanted to do was immerse people into Oz, to make it a real place. Because if it was a fake place, if it was a dream in someone's mind, then the real relationships and the stakes that these 2 girls are going through wouldn't feel real. 12. The color of the red ruby slippers was changed due to a rights issue. A very prominent scene in Wicked features the presentation of a pair of ruby slippers. They obviously indicate a connection to the character of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Viewers may scratch their heads during the sequence, though, because the shoes are not red. How can a Wizard of Oz related movie not have the red shoes? The answer has to do with rights issues. Wicked is released by Universal Pictures, but MGM maintains the rights to many elements from The Wizard of Oz, including those red ruby slippers. Including them could have led to a lawsuit. To get around the matter, the filmmakers returned to L. Frank Baum's original book, in which Dorothy's slippers are silver. On a related note, the shape of the yellow brick road was also under MGM's domain, meaning Wicked couldn't replicate its famous spiral. 13. Cynthia Erivo invested Elphaba's fingernails with thematic meaning. A good actor always brings things to a role that audiences may or may not pick up on, but which inform the performance in critical ways. When it came to Elphaba, Cynthia Erivo knew that fingernails were going to play an important part in her creation of the character. The actress, who is known for having uncommonly long nails as part of her image, wanted Elphaba's nails to suggest the realization of her magic within as the story progresses. Said Erivo, "I imagine that her nails were a part of her magic, that they just grew out of her and she hadn't yet discovered why, like her green skin. As she grows into herself, the nails get longer." 14. Cynthia Erivo underwent an arduous makeup process that included wearing prosthetic ears to hide her piercings. Every day that she was on set, Cynthia Erivo had to be transformed into the green Elphaba. That entailed a daily makeup process that took at least 2.5 hours to apply. Her skin was covered with a custom-made solution designed to look good, and, more importantly, authentic, on camera. It involved extracting the neon from a cream-colored eyeshadow and mixing a few drops into the primary green shade. Another part of the process was applying prosthetic ears. Because Erivo's actual ears are heavily pierced, it would have been difficult for her to take her earrings in and out during the shoot. Therefore, special prosthetic ears were created to fit over her own so that her piercings would be covered. 15. Paparazzi used hang gliders to snap unauthorized pictures of the actors in costume. Because of its popularity, there was a significant amount of interest in the movie adaptation of Wicked among the press. They were eager to get a glimpse of the stars in their costumes. Some of them took drastic measures, using hang gliders and GoPro cameras to get unauthorized photos that could be sold for big bucks. The tactic was startling for the actors. Ariana Grande said she couldn't believe my eyes upon spotting the airborne paparazzi. She added, "It felt so small and private until all of a sudden, we were outside, and the Daily Mail was hang gliding over our set.